Now at 10, Pittsburgh commissioners vote whether to renew the contract of a controversial license recognition camera for the city. Plus, Miami residents decide a $15.7 million school bond after it failed by just 2 votes last fall. And Shasta Power delays solar farm survey results despite a moratorium deadline.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Pittsburgh police will continue using what some consider controversial license plate recognition cameras as the city commission tonight votes to renew the city's flock safety contract. This is KOAM News. I'm Dow Quick. The decision comes just weeks after the city of Joplin fired an officer for misusing the same technology. The Pittsburgh PD says it uses the cameras to capture only license plates and vehicle information, not faces or personal data. The department says it also conducts regular audits to prevent misuse. Police defend the technology, pointing to significant results since installation. More than $600,000 in recovered stolen property, 32 recovered vehicles, 8 seized firearms, and 60 arrests.
The Pittsburgh Police Department has policies and procedures in place when officers and investigators are allowed to use the flock safety software. So we're guided by our policies and procedures. We also do internal auditing to ensure that they're being used appropriately.
The 2-year renewal consolidates Pittsburgh's 2 existing flock contracts into a single agreement covering all 32 cameras. Tonight's decision simplifies billing but does not increase costs. The annual price remains at $103,500, the same as the city currently pays for both separate contracts combined. This fee is paid through the public safety sales tax. Pittsburgh City Commissioners delay a decision to purchase new budget software, saying they want to see more options before spending nearly $50,000 in taxpayer money. During the City Commission's January 27th meeting, City Manager Darren Hall blamed the use of Excel spreadsheets for creating a conflicting budget and a costly tax error last year. To correct the mistake, commissioners voted to lower the mill rate for property owners. The proposed ClearGov cloud-based software would replace the manual spreadsheet system the city has used for years. But it isn't cheap, costing a little over $34,000 a year and $15,000 setup fee. A Miami school bond issue succeeds on its second try as voters approve a $15.7 million measure that narrowly failed last fall. Voters passed the measure today with 66% in favor, clearing the required supermajority needed for approval. The bond funds critical safety and facility upgrades, they say, with no projected tax increase. The proposal keeps the mill rate at 29 cents per $100 of assessed value, while paying for new exterior walls and secure doors at Nichols Elementary and a new playground at the Will Rogers facility. District leaders called this election a second chance to address essential safety needs that couldn't be put off any longer. Crawford County Commissioners held a meeting today expecting to hear survey results from Shasta Power regarding a proposed solar farm. Despite Shasta imposing a February 12th deadline to lift a moratorium on solar development, the commission was informed that John Kopiak from Shasta would not be present and that the survey results are not yet finished.
I feel that they will come back. I don't doubt that one bit. Whether they will have that, the surveys and numbers, that remains to be seen. But I'm sure there's more questions that need to be answered.
In a statement provided to KOAM, Kopiak apologized for not being able to attend and cited a preference to wait until undecided neighboring homeowners can make a decision. He has not given an exact timetable for that to happen. Another unseasonably warm day out there. Let's check in with meteorologist Donald O'Keefe.
Yes, today was a pretty nice day out there, but we are going to see temperatures drop a bit tonight into tomorrow morning. Currently, it's 47 degrees, clear skies. It feels like 42, winds out of the north-northeast about 10 miles an hour. But we did get up to 69 degrees today. The average is 49 degrees for this time of year, so that means we're 20 degrees above average. For tonight, though, we're going to be a bit colder than it has been. We're going to drop down to 35 degrees. We're going to have decreasing clouds as we get into tomorrow morning. Also, it is going to be a bit breezy out there. We can see wind gusts up to 25 miles an hour for tonight. All right, let's take you through tomorrow. So there's those north winds bringing in that colder air because the cold front is pushing through. As we get into tomorrow morning, we're going to see temperatures in the low to mid 30s. But by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, we're going to see mostly sunny. Temperatures are going to rebound back to about the mid to upper 50s for the region. We're also tracking some rain chances for this weekend. I'll have those details coming up.
See you soon. In Missouri, Port KC severed ties with Platform Ventures, the company that owns a South Kansas City warehouse that might become an ICE detention facility. As Betsy Webster reports, Port KC commissioners made the move during a recent meeting.
Stand at the corner of 149th and Botts Road and you'll see plenty of commercial truck traffic coming and going from numerous warehouses. Port KC says Platform Ventures promised exactly that kind of business at Building 7 in exchange for public tax incentives. Port KC's CEO says the company told him nothing about the change in plans.
Ultimately, we think that any developer, if they're coming back and doing something different than what was promised to the public, they should have to answer to the public on that.
He says the intermodal rail and road hub here is built for manufacturing and distribution, and businesses want to be in a district specific to that. He contends changing the purpose of Building 7 hurts the entire complex.
It could have a chilling effect on continuing to generate new jobs in that corridor.
So future development for industrial use.
We believe current, it could have a negative effect to the current buildings and tenants around.
Like tenants leaving?
Potentially.
Now, Platform Ventures owns the building and the land, so Port KC can't halt the sale, but they can shut them out of future public-private partnerships, and that's what commissioners voted to do.
What I would like to see is fulfilling of what was promised to the public originally, which is bring manufacturing and distribution jobs to this site.
Platform Ventures said in a statement it doesn't ask buyers about what they plan on doing with any property that's purchased. Kansas City leaders took steps last month to prevent the federal government from opening an ICE detention facility within city limits. Coming up, multiple crews respond to a fire at a poultry barn in Newton County. But up first, just hours after sharing door cam footage, authorities announce a person of interest in the Nancy Guthrie abduction. Newton County, Missouri firefighters respond to two fires this morning. One claimed a large chicken barn near Fairview, and the other was an abandoned home near Shoal Creek. We're going to begin with the fire at the chicken barn near Zebra Drive and Mulberry Road in Newton County. Multiple area departments responded to the scene around 10 a.m. Authorities say the 600-foot structure housed 13,000 chickens. That drone video shows the entire building collapse. While no firefighter injuries were reported, the structure and the livestock are considered a total loss. Authorities asked for assistance concerning another fire in Newton County this morning. Crews responded to the 600 block of East Glendale Road just before 8. The house has been unlivable since a previous fire. The Newton County Sheriff's Office has reached out to the public for any information regarding suspicious activities. Authorities have detained a person of interest in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance case. As Andres Gutierrez reports, this comes hours after the FBI shared images of a masked individual captured on Nancy Guthrie's front porch on the night she was abducted.
Two law enforcement sources tell CBS News the Pima County Sheriff's Department detained a person of interest in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The person was reportedly in a city south of Tucson. The development comes 10 days after Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, was first reported missing. On Tuesday morning, authorities released these images captured the night Nancy Guthrie was taken from her Tucson area home. A masked individual stands on Guthrie's front porch wearing thick gloves and carrying both a backpack and an apparent gun attached to their waist. At one point, the individual holds branches in an apparent attempt to block the doorbell camera before it's disconnected.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
The release of the images come less than 24 hours after Savannah Guthrie took to social media to ask for the public's help in finding their mother.
Investigators pulled this video from back-end systems. It took them 10 days because Nancy Guthrie's cameras weren't connected to the cloud and originally hadn't recorded anything.
The FBI says Guthrie's Nest camera was disabled at 1:47 a.m. 41 minutes later, her pacemaker app disconnected from her phone, which was left behind along with a trail of blood.
What does this video mean for the case?
It's really going to break this case wide open.
Late today, search teams with the Sheriff's Department along with the FBI went door to door through the neighborhood where Nancy Guthrie's daughter, Annie, and her son-in-law live. There is no word yet on the identity of the person detained. Andres Gutierrez, CBS News, Tucson.
Of course, you can look for an update on this story on our morning show and on CBS. A little bit later, deer hunters in the Show Me State could soon face new regulations impacting next season.
And we're going to see above average temperatures for the rest of the week and tracking some rain chances this weekend. I'll have those details coming up.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
It turned out to be a pretty nice day today, and we're going to see above average temperatures through the rest of the week. Take a look at our Skywatch storm tracker. Behind my head here, you can see a low pressure system in the Great Lakes, but it has a cold front draped all the way down to Texas that's bringing in some colder air behind it. That's where we're going to see temperatures drop tonight back into the 30s. You can see that colder air starting to push in as we go through this evening. You can even see the boundary line as well in Arkansas. So like I said, we're going to see colder temperatures, but not as cold as it was a couple weeks ago. But for today, we got up to a high of 69 degrees. The average is 49 degrees for this time of year. So that means we're 20 degrees above average. Current conditions out there right now, 47 degrees. It feels like 42. North-northeast winds about 10 miles an hour. So it's cooling down a bit. For your evening tonight, we're going to drop down to 35 degrees. We're going to have decreasing clouds as we get into tomorrow morning. And it's also going to be a bit breezy. Those north winds could be gusting up to 25 miles an hour for tonight. Let me take you through the next couple of days. So here's tonight. There's those north winds bringing in that colder air. As we get into Wednesday morning, temperatures in the low to mid 30s. But as we get into Wednesday afternoon, staying mostly sunny, temperatures are going to be about the mid 50s to the upper 50s and even pushing 60 down in the southern counties. As we get into Thursday morning, we're going to have a nice influx of southeast winds, warming things up a bit. We're going to start off today in the upper 30s. Then by Thursday afternoon, back into the upper 50s and low 60s for the area. If you're planning a day for tomorrow, mostly sunny skies through the day. A bit cooler for tomorrow, high at 57 degrees. For tomorrow, dropping down to 40 degrees, partly cloudy skies, a bit cooler, but winds are going to be a little bit better, about 5 to 10 miles an hour. So this is supposed to show indigo sky, but it looks like it says it has an update ready for me. But it looks pretty good out there right now, but we are in need of some rain right now. Our drought tracker has moderate drought pretty much across the region, even severe and extreme just south of I-44. So we're in desperate need of rain, and luckily there is hope in sight for us. This is our upper level flow, and this is Thursday. This is going to show us what's happening in the atmosphere. So we're dry for Thursday. There's a system out to the west that's going to slowly make its way in this weekend, but as we get to Friday, there's going to be just enough energy and moisture. Maybe we can see a little bit of rain Friday morning, but as we get into Friday afternoon, that clears out. But now we're getting into Friday night, Saturday morning. That system really starts to push in. Now we're seeing a good amount of energy and moisture. Now we're going to see that rain and potentially even rumbles of thunder and heavy rain associated with that system as well. By the time we get to Sunday, that pushes off to the southeast. Now a ridge of high pressure builds back in, and that will bring temperatures back up to well above average. Let me take you through time and a closer look through Thursday. Temperatures in the low 60s as we get into Friday. There's a little bit of that rain staying further to the south Friday morning. By the time we get to Friday afternoon, staying in the low to mid 60s for the region. Now here comes that rain Saturday morning through the afternoon. Temperatures about the mid 50s, but like I said, a few rumbles of thunder and maybe even some heavier downpours with that system pushing through. Taking a look at our 7-day here, cooling off tomorrow, 57 degrees, staying in the low 60s through Friday. Then that rain starts to push in Friday night into Saturday. And like I said, maybe some rumbles of thunder, definitely need some rain, cooler temperatures, but then we rebound back to the upper 60s and low 70s by next week.
Yeah, and even at its coolest, it's not going to be bitterly cold like we saw recently.
Most definitely not.
Thanks, Donald. The Missouri Department of Conservation proposes new regulations to combat chronic wasting disease in the deer population. Most Missouri counties see less than 1% of deer infected with CWD each year, but the disease continues to spread. One of the proposals is for the department to remove an extra 5 days of firearms deer season.
Thankfully, due to our surveillance efforts that have allowed us to detect the disease early where it exists, and then our management efforts has helped to keep that infection rate or the percentage of the population that has the disease to low levels at this point.
The Missouri Department of Conservation is still accepting comments from the public until February 14th. If given final approval by the commission, regulations will take effect starting July 1st. Still ahead, the high school basketball regular season's winding down with playoffs right around the corner. And our local teams are looking to find their rhythm before the playoffs as a pair of doubleheaders highlight the slate on Tuesday. Highlights coming up in sport.
We are inching closer and closer to regional and sub-state basketball, and our local teams are looking to be playing their best ball as postseason comes around. We have a pair of Kansas doubleheaders on the slate this evening. Tipping it off at the Colgan Fieldhouse with the Panthers battling Riverton. Jacayla Davis came out firing. Panthers already leading, and the senior crosses up her defender before draining her second three of the night. What a move by Davis, extending the lead. But the Rams are hanging around, forcing the Colgan turnover. It's Ellie Helms going coast to coast for the fast break layup, and she wasn't done there. She had an impact early on. A couple possessions later, Helms will be bringing the ball up for Riverton. She'll go to the crossover, setting herself up open for the stop and pop. Mid-range jumper, sinking it. She had 7 points in the opening quarter, but the first 8 minutes belonged to the reigning Class 2A Player of the Year. Final seconds, Davis shaking off a defender, cashing the fadeaway jumper before the buzzer. She had 12 of the Panthers' first 16 points. Second quarter action, Davis now being a playmaker, using the screen to attract the defense, finding her twin sister Janessa for three. Bang! Lead up to 15. Colgan defends home court, 61-38 the final. Colgan boys winners of 3 in a row, and Riverton winners in 7 of their last 8, clashing in the nightcap. First quarter, both offenses struggling to start, but Gabe Brown's offensive rebound would set himself up for an open 3 in the corner, and it's nothing but net from the sophomore. Panthers strike first. But the Rams would respond in a big way. It's Liam Burge finding Aiden Witherspoon wide open underneath for the easy lay-in, sparking a Riverton run. Burge now on the run in transition. He's looking for a man, and he dishes it to Levi Mann in the corner. Sophomore drilling the triple. He was just getting started as well. A couple possessions later, the duo will reconnect as Burge gives it to Mann, who looks to drive. He will, fighting off contact for the finish, plus a foul, an 11-2 run for the Rams. Final seconds of the quarter. Brady Bettiga racing down the court, weaving his way into an open look from deep. Good if it goes. Bang from Bettiga at the buzzer. Colgan erases an early deficit to complete the sweep, winning 64-55. In Frontenac, the Raiders, winners of 2 in a row, hosting Galena at home. The Raiders would strike right away. Off the opening tip, Reese Franklin drives to the lane, finishes with the left hand to give Frontenac the early lead. Raiders looking to extend their lead a couple of possessions later. It's Lakin Sullivan with the drive and kick to Andy Stout in the short corner. The sophomore's jumper is nothing but net. Frontenac in control off the inbounds play. They're going to go to Reese Franklin once again. She'll pass it down low to Marley Stout, who fights off a pair of defenders on the double team, scoring the deuce to extend the lead. And the Raiders keep on rolling. Off the Galena turnover you're about to see, it's Franklin finding Sullivan in transition, and she kisses it off the glass for 2. It's all Frontenac in this one, but the Bulldogs, they would find a spark. It's Mackenzie New. She looks to drive, and she'll dish it out to Riley Meyer in the corner, and the senior is going to make that shot every single time, but the Raiders take down Galena at home, 61-19 the final. The Raiders boys squad eyeing a 3rd straight win, taking on the Bulldogs in the finale. Raiders working the ball around the arc in the first, 3 quick passes before finding Jake Wagner down low, who scores an easy bucket underneath. Bulldogs now on the attack themselves. It's Chase Cottrell dumping it off to Isaiah Farfan, who can't finish the lay-in here, but luckily for the visitors, Gannon Scarrow is right there to clean up the mess and add 2 to the scoreboard. Galena continuing to be a threat. They're going to work the ball around, and they'll find Sway Dixon. He's going to drive and kick it out to the corner where Scarrow will drill the open 3. Sophomore making an impact early on in this one. On the other end now, it's Jackson Barcelona grabbing the offensive board for the Raiders, rocketing a pass into the chest of Cale Coombs, who connects on the floater for a couple more. Cottrell going the other way for Galena now. He'll slow up, looking for somebody on the wing, and he's got an open man. Connor Parrish wide open beyond the arc, where he buries the triple himself. Bulldogs take down Frontenac on the road, 49-45. Special night for Jacayla Davis as well. She broke the Colgan's all-time scoring record in January, and she was honored tonight in between the games.
Wow, good for her. What an exciting night for basketball, huh?
Especially because she's also closing in on 2,000 career points as
wow,
well.
That would be quite a milestone.
Yep.
We'll be right back. 100 Women Who Care donated more than $5,000 to the Aspire program in Joplin. Aspire is a program for single parents who are in college to help them stay in school. Aspire achieves this goal through assistance with car repairs, childcare, and other things that can be a barrier for a single parent to stay in college.
Men and women who are single parents this semester that are going to college. And what this does is we give them an avenue to get help. A lot of times students just don't know where to ask, or they're afraid to ask, or they just think no one's going to help me. And so what our organization does is helps them stay in college and know that people care.
Aspire tells KOIM this donation will go to help 5 students. That group, 100 Women Who Care, always doing a lot of good in our communities. The weather looking pretty mild still in the days ahead.
Yeah, we're going to stay above average, pretty much about 10 to 15 degrees above average for the rest of the week. We are going to see some rain this weekend, which we really need. And then even by next weekend, we get back into the 70s.
Wow. Final sports note.
Yes, I know it's sad football season over with the Super Bowl, but baseball is here. Pitchers and catchers reporting today, so spring training is started. Games coming up on the 20th. That's when they start. And then World Baseball Classic, and then end of March. It's baseball season, and I'm excited.
Looking forward to baseball, and I'll tell you something. For us NFL fans, this season never really quite ends. Right now, we're just anticipating the draft, and pretty soon, we'll be looking to the next thing. So there's always
Draft,
something
free
to
agency.
think about.
Yep, there's always something.
Right, exactly. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show starts at 5 a.m. Look for updates on the Guthrie case, and let's make it a great tomorrow.